Let's begin by getting you all the latest updates on the COVID crisis. Very worrying situation that's unfolding in the national capital. As we've been seeing cases slowly going up in the last 24 hours, according to the information from the administration, the cases have further climbed up, which means that the infection rate has also gone up in the national capital. Now, over nearly 500 COVID cases have been reported in a single day now in Delhi. 496 COVID cases, to be exact, were reported on Tuesday. That means that the positivity rate has climbed up to 0.89%. There's a night curfew in place between 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. under level 1 of the graded response action plan. And it's under this action plan that schools, colleges, cinemas and gyms will remain closed. Shops of non-essential goods and services in markets as well as malls can open based on an odd-even formula from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now, restaurants will be permitted with 50% capacity from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Bars also allowed to operate with the same capacity. Timing is a little different, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. Private offices will function with 50% staff. Metro trains and buses will run with 50% of seating capacity in the city. Marriages and funerals will be allowed with an attendance of only 20 people. All other political, cultural, religious gatherings are banned in Delhi. Meanwhile, the Delhi Disaster Management Authority will meet today to discuss the current situation. Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and senior officials along with experts will attend this meet. With the Delhi Chief Minister sounding a yellow alert now in the national capital, what are the curbs that are back in place in Delhi? Well, there's a night curfew that is in effect right now from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day. Beyond that, also the other measures that have been taken is that schools, colleges, cinemas, gyms, all of that will be shut now. Beyond that, private offices are allowed to function, but with 50% staff to ensure that social distancing is maintained in these offices. Non-essential shops will open on an odd-even basis, particularly in malls. They'll be allowed to open one day and then close the next. Restaurants will be allowed to open from 8 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. So their timings don't change, but with 50% capacity, again to ensure social distancing. Bars also are allowed to function. The timing for them is 12 noon to 10 p.m. They have to adhere to that timing with 50% capacity. Again, 100% seating will not be allowed. Metros, trains, buses, public transport will essentially run, but again, with 50% seating capacity to ensure social distancing. As far as marriages and funerals are concerned, goes back to square one. Only 20 attendees will be allowed in marriages and funerals. All political gatherings are banned. All cultural, religious gatherings at this point will not be allowed till there's a relook at the current norms and curbs that are put in place by the government. Let's take this across now to Amit Bharadwaj. He's joining us live from Delhi with the latest updates on the story. Amit, good morning. The situation in Delhi is very, very worrying at this point. With every single day, the number of cases are going up. The positivity rate is also going up. Break this down for us, the data that's coming from the authorities. How many of the cases that have been reported are Omicron cases?
Good morning, Akshata. You're absolutely right when you term the situation worrying for the national capital. You know, when we look at the number, 496 is the number of the COVID-19 infections in the national capital. And the positivity rate is nearly touching 1%. That is the most worrying factor. As far as Omicron cases are concerned, we are just behind Mumbai, which has the highest number of Omicron cases so far in the country. And the worry for Delhi right there in the Omicron variant cases is that we have the highest number of active cases pool in the entire country, which means the situation is little complicated for the national capital and the administration. And probably that is the reason that, you see that the administration is now gearing up to prepare for the worst kind of situation. And that is why you had a swift and response and the grab measures have been put in place. And in fact, today, the Disaster Management Authority of Delhi would be again meeting, which is obviously chaired by LG Anil Baijal.
Okay.
And the top ministers of the Delhi government would be part of it. So clearly precautions are being taken to make sure that the situation remains under control.
That's right. So you've got the authorities acting immediately to ensure that, you can arrest the spread of the virus immediately, and we don't see an eventuality where cases are completely spiraling out of control. Amit, thank you for those details. Vidya is also joining us from Mumbai, because in Mumbai too, it's a similar story of the cases continuing to climb up. After 212 days, you're seeing that in Mumbai, cases have gone above the 1,000 mark again, which means that in Maharashtra also, the case tally has gone up. Now, the daily infections that have been reported in Mumbai is at 1,377. Those many new cases have been reported, along with one death on Tuesday. That is, believe it or not, a 70% jump in the tally. With this surge, active cases in the city have soared past 7,000. Maharashtra's tally also saw an uptick owing to the surge in Mumbai. The state has reported 2,172 new cases. Maharashtra now has over 14,000 active cases of COVID-19. And this situation is rather worrying, because all of this and this surge that you're seeing in Mumbai is happening despite the fact that a number of restrictions, curbs were already put in place by the administration, preempting to a certain sense perhaps that something like this would actually happen. And as of course we get you the latest on the positivity rate and how it's really climbed up in Maharashtra, with the number of cases going up, at this point there's a possibility that the state government could consider more curbs as well. Vidya is joining us live from Mumbai with more on this. Vidya, good morning. This kind of a spike in COVID cases in Mumbai is very, very worrying. And like I mentioned, it's happening despite a number of restrictions, curbs already being put in place. What are authorities saying? What are they owing the surge to?
Especially with the coming of Omicron, the kind of spread that has been...
Vidya, we'll just come back to you. We're having a bit of a problem with your audio there. We'll come back to you for those updates from the city of Mumbai. Vidya, breaking down for us what authorities have to say right now. Over 1,000 cases being reported in the city of Mumbai, and that's a worrying surge that's being reported right now. Vidya is back with us. Vidya, if you could give us those details of really what the authorities have to say right now about the COVID surge.
Well, the authorities are extremely worried, because remember, in entire state of Maharashtra, it is Mumbai which is driving most of the figures of COVID cases. In fact, Mumbai has almost 50 to 55% of the cases that are coming up really is actually from this very city. And that's one of the reasons why Maharashtra, especially Mumbai, has seen many curbs like the night curfews being put in place, restrictions being imposed. But in spite of that, that hasn't really eased out. And in fact, yesterday itself, Mumbai has recorded highest number of cases. In fact, is looking at the silver lining also right now, which is that there are actually no COVID, Omicron cases that have been recorded yesterday. And in fact, there's been only one death, which is thankfully one of the lower figures that we have seen. But people are really worried, especially whether this is really the third wave that has really started. And that's the reason why Maharashtra government and the BMC has been asking people to really take a lot of precaution. Masking up is an essential necessity that needs to be taken into mind. Wherever, in fact, at public places that we see, there are people not wearing masks at all. And one of the reasons why Maharashtra government is also worried is because we had seen a similar take in the last wave as well, wherein people living in the high rises were the ones infected. And this time also, during this particular phase that we are seeing, where the numbers are going up, the number of people getting infected in the high rises is more than in the slums. So that's one of the things that really working Maharashtra government.
Right, Vidya, we're having again a problem with your audio, but thank you for joining us this morning with all of those details from Mumbai. Vidya, breaking down for us what's really led to this kind of a surge in cases in Mumbai, and perhaps what's a matter of concern is that New Year is round the corner, and will that lead to another spike? Next week, will we see an unprecedented surge in cases? Is still a question mark. But one of the ways that the authorities have chosen to really battle this kind of a surge is to focus on the vaccine policy. Over the weekend, the Prime Minister also announced vaccines for teenagers in the age group of 15 to 18. And after that announcement, considering that the vaccine process and the policy will kick off in January, preparations are on in full swing in every state to ensure that vaccine stocks are available, that centers are ready to also jab teenagers.
gearing up to vaccinate its teenagers. The vaccination drive for 15 to 18 years old will start on 3rd January. They can only be administered the Covaxin shot. The beneficiaries will have to book their slot on CoWIN website. With less than 1 week to go, all states in India are preparing to vaccinate its young population, especially in view of the anticipated surge in Omicron infections. In Delhi, the eligible children will be vaccinated at the existing centres. They will be administered jabs at government schools and government and private hospitals. In Maharashtra, the number of eligible teenagers for the vaccine is being ascertained. 3.7% of the state's population is likely to be vaccinated. The state of Tamil Nadu is also gearing up to inoculate 33.2 lakh children. Assam's state departments and district administration are planning to administer vaccines to 18.25 lakh teenagers. And in Haryana, nearly 16 lakh eligible children will receive their first jab. The state government is collecting data on all school-going children. Children who were vaccinated in the trial phase have received their vaccine certificates.
जो पहला डोज लिया तब मुझे थोड़ा सा तो डर लग रहा था कि वैक्सीन लेने के बाद क्या होगा, क्योंकि ट्रायल में ले रहे थे, बट वैक्सीन लेने के बाद कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं आए हमें और कुछ भी जो हमें था वो कुछ हुआ नहीं हमें।
ये घोषणा जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने की है वो उसके बैकड्रॉप में मैं उन सभी लोगों को कांग्रेचुलेट करना चाहूँगा जो बच्चों ने और उनके पेरेंट्स ने ये वैक्सीन की ट्रायल लेने की हिम्मत की और आज उनकी हिम्मत की भरोसे ही ये ट्रायल सक्सेसफुल होने के बाद बाकी सभी बच्चों के लिए ये वैक्सीन ओपन की जा रही है।
With Omicron cases on the rise, India is leaving nothing to chance by opening up vaccination to the younger population. Bureau Report, India Today.